This is a news flash for every newscast. Be very prepared, ain't trying to hear why he do that. See, I'd be lying if I say I didn't like this life, when I'm steady shaking hands, giving a few laughs. See, this is only the beginning, mommy. A beginning, I don't think this ever ended, mommy. My ex said, why you be—
What's up, everybody? Aquatic Master. Some new stuff in the fish room. Everything else is pretty much going as planned. Covered everything in the last update. Nothing's really changed that much except for a few things. First off, let's start with the 33 long. Alright, 33 long. Last time I had a significant video on this tank was a while back. I think that was still when I had some fish breeding in here, and for a few months this tank was just it was a breeding tank, and then the fish stopped breeding for a little while. They had way too many fry in here. They couldn't really tell whose was whose, and it kind of get mixed up a lot. So I canceled the breeding and I moved the tank in here just to let everything settle down a little bit. And this rest of the time, the tank had just been kind of sitting there. I had a fry in here, had a male and some females in here, but no breeding was going on. The only thing that was really happening with the fry were growing up, and the females were trying to kill each other. But since then, just a few days ago, I think 3 days ago, I decided to finally clear out this tank and get some breeding going on in here again. So I took down the tank to about 1 inch in height, and about 1 inch, and I moved as many fry as I could possibly find, especially males, but as many of them as I could find, and moved them over there into that Rubbermaid tub. It's about 35 gallons. Obviously it's not filled to the rim, so it's not exactly 35, but that's got the water and the fish from in there from about a week ago, and the fry are doing really well. None of them are really that large to do any breeding or anything, but I'm just gonna let them grow out in there. And then of course across the lane I've got this other one with the males from one of the females in here is breeding a long time ago actually. But so after that I put in 2 female Cacatuoides. One was a breeder from the previous I don't know, version of this tank, I guess, first version. But so got 2 females in here. One is an orange flash Cacatuoides, and the other one is a wild type. I am not entirely sure what region they're from or what coloration they have, considering that I bought them in an order of 10 as McMasterai, and they turned out to be Cacatuoides. You do, but good thing is got some wild types, not some orange flash that I already had, and I could try and do some crossbreeding or something. But the 2 males I have are, I think, Peru and Venezuela. Correct me if I'm getting that wrong, but it's one that has coloration, the slight coloration of what we call red, double red, triple red. Those kind, I think those are Venezuela or Peru. And then a kind of an orange sheer. If you didn't know what Cacatuoides and Trilesciana were, you would think it might have been one of those 2. Its finnage is incredibly kind of a shiny blue. I'm not finding him anywhere right now. Oh, you can see it over on the left. That white rock is peeking his head out right now. That's him. That's the blue one. And that female is the orange flash from the previous version of the tank. Then moving over here, we've got the wild female. I'm not which are unidentified, and I have no idea where the red guy went. Let's see if I can get closer on this guy. So yeah, as you can see, his lips and his dorsal fin are very, very light and shiny blue with a tip of orange, and then his tail is a bit more bland, but it's got some blue patterns on it. So I can't wait to see what his fry turned out to be. Him, I think he was from this tank right here. That used to be the driftwood tank in the breeding experiment. I'm relatively sure that's him. So it's one of these two tanks where the red and the blue guys are from. Hopefully the fry turn out to look like he does, because I love to have more of this coloration. The market's Cacatuoides are orange flash, double red, triple red. Those guys are nice. I've always liked them, but I've always had a fancy for the wild types a little bit more. I don't know, it just shows you what they look like in their natural habitat a little bit better. But yeah, those are the guys that are in here, and hopefully they've been in here for a few days, so obviously I'm not going to start breeding right away. But I've got I started off the tank in about 4 inches, so barely any water, and then I filled it up 3 days later to where it is now, and I've started feeding bloodworms and brine shrimp today. Hopefully I can get them to breathe sometime soon. If they don't breathe the next couple days, I'll lower the water level again, wait a few days, fill it up again. That's really how you get them started breeding. Other than that, after that they just keep going and breeding. So yeah, that's the 33 long tank. Like I've said in my other videos, if you don't have one of these and you like to breed dwarf cichlids, especially harem breeders like Cacatuoides, I would definitely recommend getting a few, 1 or more if possible, because they are just wonderful for breeding harem breeders and multiple pairs of dwarf cichlids. I guess pike cichlids might work. Dwarf pike cichlids, definitely not the full growns. Alright, next on to some water circulation. Alright, now on to probably the biggest news today in the fish room. A new idea came to me when I originally designed this fish room. The layout of the tanks and the stands and the water and stuff. I originally wanted a sump system for all the tanks, but did not have the time to create a sump system and manage all these tanks at the same time. So I went with just regular water changes, and eventually over there, as you can see, I got a 33-gallon brute or whatever it's pronounced, Rubbermaid trash can, which is a pretty common trash can for aquarium usage, and filled it up and started using that for water changes. And then eventually I got another one over here for the wastewater, and it's got wheels on it so I can roll it out and dump it into the drain. But that got irritating quickly. Obviously, it's a lot easier than hauling the old-fashioned 5-gallon jugs everywhere, but it's still a lot of work to roll this thing out and dump it. So I was working on an idea to get a recirculation system to recirculate the water, as the name implies, but I wasn't entirely sure how I should go about it until today. I figured it out, and I went to the fish store and bought a 9 watt UV in-tank filter. Here's it looks like. It's for the in-tank. It's got a pump on it, and bulb will last me about a year, a little bit more, and it's just going in there. The system is rated for 100 gallons. I've got a 33 gallon bucket over here, so it should be working pretty effectively. So now the system is water from that tank, from that trash can, goes around the tubing, as you can see up here, the half-inch tubing, and goes into the tanks, fills the tanks up, stops, and as water drains out of the breeding tanks and the rearing tanks on the top into this waste bin, the UV filter UV filter turns on and circulates the water through, cleanses it, purifies the water so I don't get any bacteria or anything recirculating into the system, and a soft leveling siphon pulls the water into the original trash can, which works so far so good. And the system is really effective because, as saltwater breeders know, saltwater fish keepers, the reason the sump was really took the bloom in the saltwater hobby, not so much in the freshwater, is because you can only have so many fish in a saltwater tank. 10-gallon saltwater tank, you can probably have maybe 4 or 5 fish, and probably clownfish for most people if you're getting a tank that small. But you can't have a lot of fish per gallon in a saltwater tank as much as you can have in a freshwater tank. Regardless of aggression, you can have the most peaceful fish in the world, but they're not gonna be able to stay in a tank that small to keep it stable, which is why all the saltwater tanks you hear of are gigantic. But the sump came in and people realized it added water volume to the overall tank. So you got a 10-gallon tank, you get a 10-gallon sump, you got 20 gallons of water, you can put twice as many fish in there, and the sump really took bloom to let saltwater breeders, or salties as people call them, to get more fish in their tanks. Sumps can be used for freshwater, definitely. They're just not that common because they're not incredibly necessary unless you have to pack a bunch of fish into a small tank, which is a terrible idea in itself. But since I'm breeding and I've got a whole bunch of fry in each tank, and then I have to rear each batch of fry in their own tank, I figured I might as well. And adding these two trash cans to the system adds 66 gallons, a little bit less than 66 gallons of water to the system, which cuts down my need for water changes as often, and stabilizes the overall system a lot better. But yeah, so the in-tank UV helps purify the water. Tank system is a lot bigger overall. That's it for this video.
This is only the beginning, mommy. A beginning, I don't think that's ever ending, mommy. My ex said, why you be on your Charlie Sheen shit? Because I'm winning, mommy. Everything is at where it belongs.